It's time to hear what you have to say about issues that are trending. Welcome to Joy News Interactive with me, Benis Abubedu. Now, there's been a lot that happened over the weekend, but after a careful deliberation, I must say it was a very careful one, with my team, this is what we'll do for Joy News Interactive today. Now, this year's BEC started today. When did you write yours and how did it feel at the time? And do you know breast flattening? I'll tell you about it and pick your comments and your experiences if you have any. And a study suggests if you have a lot of friends, then you're not so smart. And of course, we'll talk about the president's weekend bike ride that has created a lot of talk. Now, get onto our Facebook page, Joy News on TV. The various issues are posted there. Leave your comments in the comments section. You can also tweet at us at Joy News on TV. We are also on Instagram, and our name is Joy News on TV. Alternatively, you can send me a WhatsApp message on the number 0560 800,000 0560 800 000. It's easy to forget some past experiences and refuse to give people some room on how they handle similar experiences. Now, today, some of us hear about BEC and we make comments like, that's just one of the basic things in life. But how did you feel at the time you wrote yours? Let's get onto Facebook, because some of you have been sharing your experiences at the time. You've also been telling me when you wrote BEC and how long it has been and the kind of experiences you had that are not happening now. Let's get onto Facebook. And Christian Bales Techi says he wrote in 2002 and he said, I have to learn throughout the Sunday before the exam day, but one thing I did that I think people should practice is to seek the face of God, because it's not what you know or you're going to write, but he can turn things around for your good. And he's also praying for those who are writing this year's exam that every wicked invigilator and examiner should be taken off their way. He's also wishing them good success. We can scroll up because some of you have been sending us a lot more. Yes. And Bayem Roland says mine was in 2003 and we're the first part to start that exams at URJHS, and with only 3 masters and 3 years, but we still got to our secondary schools. So Eric Malco says mine was at Krabwa Kota in the year 1990. Wow, no invigilator. He says there was only one drunk police officer who came to the hall for about a 20-minute session. So every 20 minutes he would appear. Wow, interesting. There was no invigilator. I'm not sure we can do that now. Can we let students write BEC without an invigilator? I'm not sure we can do that. But someone is sharing his experience there. Al Hassan T. Jamal says that was in 2000 at Nyohini Press PJSS Tamale. We used to do TDB. Now that's till daybreak. Nowadays, students and candidates don't do till daybreak. They rely on leakages to pass their exams. And someone one day Agbo says he wrote his in 2003. Says I was in church on Sunday, and that was when I knew there was a name called Jesus. I went to the center before 6 a.m. He sighs and says it was only God. And Chris Ajaman says he wrote in 2007, but he did all the preparation needed by attending extra classes and serious studies because he was the last child, and all of them had passed there, so he wanted to break their record. He says it was a cool job. And one funny thing is that some of his colleagues didn't do their prediction earlier, but you could, preparation you mean earlier, but you could see them praying to God to help them. The truth is heaven helps those who help themselves. But before I get into your history and your experiences when you wrote BEC and how you felt at the time, you've also been speaking to some students writing this year's BEC, and they've been telling us what they expect.
I found myself at one of the centers for this year's Basic Education Certificate Examination, the BEC, which starts today. I want to speak to some of the students who are preparing to write the exams. I understand the first paper will start around 9 a.m., but they're already in school. When I came in, they were learning and all of that. Let me speak to this gentleman first. What makes you think you are prepared?
I've learned, I've prayed to God. I believe I can pass. So I've learned a lot.
So we are writing the first part, which is English. For most people, they are scared, they are anxious. Are you scared? Are you anxious?
Oh no. Mostly they say English is everyday English, so you just have to learn a little and then do what you can. I'm not that scared.
For most of the other places I've been to, you find out that the students are in a sorrowful mood, not because they are sad, but they are praying to God. They have a lot of worship sessions going on. Have you also had that this morning?
No, I just did it in the house.
You did it in the house?
Yeah.
What did you tell God?
Oh, I told God that anything that I'm coming to learn, He will remind me what I learned. That's what I told God. So.
And you've also learned as well?
Yeah, I learned in the dawn. When I wake up, I learned it.
What are some of the things you have put in place to ensure that you write all the papers successfully?
Oh, I pray to God and I know that I'll do it. I'm trying my best and I know that I'll do it.
I'll come and talk to you about the schools you chose, but tell me, which school did you choose?
I chose Infantipem.
Infantipem. You want to be a butcher boy?
Yes.
Why did you choose Infantipem? What's so special about Infantipem?
Most of my cousin and then some other people I also know, they've been there. I just think it's a nice school.
You chose the school because you think it's nice.
Yes.
And apart from English, you have RME to write today, but the focus seems to be on English. Why is that the case?
Because English is a subject. If you do not learn it, you cannot write it. And English is about grammar. So you have to learn how to write. And we know how to write already, but you have to practice.
Are you anxious?
Yeah.
Why are you anxious?
No, because English is a kind of subject like literature. If you do not take in practice, sometimes you may forget it. That's why.
But you know you pass.
Yes, I know.
Okay. So tell me, have you been able to go through the syllabus as you should?
Yes.
Oh, don't they look cute? I can't imagine that this is how I looked when I was going to write my BC, but there you have it. Some young people there telling us what they expect in this year's BC. Someone said he wants to go to Poche. I'm not a fan of Infantipem, but it's okay, it's their choice. I'm not going to go into the school battle today, but let me pick some of your comments here on WhatsApp. Michael Aminin in the UK says, okay, all right. Okay, Michael, thank you. And then this one, okay, I haven't gotten there yet. Relax, I'll get there. But let's pick your comments on the BEC issue. This one says, it wasn't easy in 2008. We panicked for the first paper, but the rest was okay. And this is from Derico in Wa. Chimsi says that some senior high schools in northern Ghana have been given until further notice mid-term break due to insufficient feeding grants. Okay, feeding grants, and we'll look at how we can delve more into that issue. Now, Shams in Sogakope, Shams, relax. I will get there. Don't be in a hurry. Right now, you're talking about the VC and your experience and, you know, your well wishes to those who are writing it now. And this one says, my name is Sam from the UK. I wish all the BC candidates the best of luck. Okay, so let's move on now. Breast implants, breast reduction, breast increase. But do you know about breast flattening or ironing? Well, we'll be talking about that today because it's an interesting subject. Now, it is the pounding and massaging of a teenage girl's breast using hard or heated objects. I'll show you what it looks like. Now, the main aim of this practice is to stop girls from developing breasts at a younger age to prevent teenage pregnancies and child marriage. Now, do you know about breast flattening or do you have an experience? Well, there you have it. That's what it looks like. And if you come down a bit, you would see that this young girl has a bandage, or sort of, it looks like, really strapped tight to her chest, and that's supposed to make her look flat and press hard on the breast. Now, this is a stone that is being used to massage the breast so that it will go flat. Let's come down a bit, and the first picture up there shows, so that's a proper pounding. Now you can see something that looks like, is it a pestle? I don't know, but that's a young girl having her breast flattened. Let's pick some of your comments. A lot of interesting comments have come. And Enyo Namboache says it's a very bad practice and should be stopped. Flattening the breast doesn't change one's thought about sexual activities. In this era, what's important now is sex education and advice rather than breast flattening. So she's, directly addressing the reason for the flattening because they want to prevent teenage pregnancies and child marriages. But Anyonam thinks that's not it. Flattening someone's breast wouldn't make them, sexually active or less. So Pitrina says, I'm surprised most people don't know about this practice. They do it where I come from. Okay. He says the pain is so indescribable. And some people use a wooden spatula, if you're Ghanaian, that's called bankuta, to do it at dawn, to be precise. The old folks say one must not talk to anyone before doing that. Wow, okay. Warzone Sniper says, yes, I think it's good because guys of today, immediately they see that a young lady has developed breasts. They no longer think of that person as young. Zoka Palan says, this act used to be in existence that aided in preventing adolescent girls from engaging in early sexual activities, and it prevents the breast from developing to attract the opposite sex. Okay, so we've been speaking to Dr. Bote, and he says what this actually does for the young girls is it makes them age early in terms of what their breasts look like. They end up, like a 25-year-old girl who has had her breast flattened earlier in life would have her breast looking like an 80-year-old woman because it's been pounded so much, the muscles there are not, firm and all that. So, well, Derrico says that breast flattening is barbaric, uncultured, and he thinks it's also criminal. And he's sending us this all the way from Wa. Farouk in Tamale says, flattening the breast is not good. It must be stopped. And this one says, I wish all the candidates the best of luck. And this is from Robert Taylor. And this one says, my niece already has a flight to catch right after her papers, so I really hope there won't be any cancellation. This is Cedric in Tantra Hill. Well, let's just pray we won't have any leakages, which may eventually lead to the cancellation of certain papers. But why book a flight so close when you know how it works sometimes? I mean, I'm just thinking. But Enoch says, seriously, this primitive practice should be stopped. Sex education is what the teenage girls need and not flattening of their breasts. This one says, most of the students will not pass the BEC as expected. I don't know why he's saying that because, because teachers have been refused their pay. So you were thinking that because teachers were not paid well, it would have an effect on the performance of this year's BEC. Well, let's see how that goes. But Alice Ado says, she laughs and she says, she remembers when she was a kid, her granny used to catch a little insect and make sure the insect bit her nipple because according to her granny, her breast was taking too much time to develop. So, oh, wow. So she says she's big now, she's got some assets in the front, but she's big, but she has tiny breasts, and she's laughing at that. There's one reply to that. I'm curious. I want to see what the reply is. Let's see what is happening there. Okay, well, I'm sure the person took it off, but Hannah Dede Teko sighs and says, I went through this myself, and I don't think it's something we ladies should encourage. I didn't know what it was at the time it was done. I wouldn't have allowed it. So please, my ladies, don't allow it. Now, this is coming from Hannah, and she's experienced breast flattening, and it's coming from the horse's own mouth. She says it's not good. Don't allow it to be done to you. Don't do it to someone else. And Osman Isifu says, why flatten the breast at all? We need them as it is. And Algore Boating George says, never heard of flattening of breast, but what will make one do this? And says, I know few women have means of enlarging, but what is the essence in all? Well, George, it's believed that when you do that, the young girls will not get themselves involved in early sexual activity. And so they're trying to prevent teenage pregnancy. That's what they want to make us believe. But Shevan Samlao says, what do women think? I I need their perspective. And he says he knows nothing about that. And Sham says this breast flattening is too ridiculous. And this one says, I don't think this is the solution. We need to go back to a moral lesson which will help us. I'm sure he's talking about the breast flattening issue. And it says, I wish all the BEC candidates well. This is from Anas in Bolga. Now, when I come back, we'll be talking about President Mahama's motorbike ride that is getting a lot of us talking. And we'll also talk about a study that suggests that if you have a lot of friends, then you're not so smart. Please stay with me. I'll be right back.
Joy News Interactive is brought to you by
Airtel, the smartphone network.
Thanks for staying with me on Joy News Interactive, and on to the issue that a lot of you were even commenting on before we got here. Now, President Mahama, have you seen that video of him sitting on the bike? I must say I'm impressed at how well composed he was, but a lot of Ghanaians are not too happy. A section of the public think that there are more pressing issues and so he shouldn't have gone on that bike ride, but others think give the gentleman a break. He's got a private life as well, but there you have it. And some people took their time to go and find out how much the motorbike President Mahama was sitting on cost, and it's a Ducati. And one person who follows us very well on our Facebook page says that this was about it's about 21,000 to about 29,000 pounds, not cedis. That's how much it costs. And a lot of people have been commenting on it. Let's hear what they have to say now. John S. Johnson says, my good friend, let's put away the biases. No politics, and I think we'd have to scroll to the side a bit. You really want to tell me a leader of a great nation like Ghana should not or cannot afford to buy a Ducati bike? He says, wow. At least I believe you were once a journalist, or like I said, says, please do this investigation for us all, because I know it's just because our president rode around on one day. The reason for your post, the source of acquisition of the bike. He says, I really feel sad. Even ordinary people could afford it, let alone a president of a country. Abigail Elon Mensa says, Eric, I'm sad this is coming from you. Is the president not paid a salary? And who said he couldn't have bought it if he was not a president? I'm disappointed. Okay, so on and on and on. But this one says, but the question that has not been answered first is, does the bike belong to the president? Well, that's another question. Eric Angel himself replies and says, stop the mischief. And okay, so he also replies to all the backlash and says it's not whether the president can or cannot afford the bike, but it's the symbolism. You don't indulge in luxuries when your country is on its knees. Thousands out of job, high electricity tariffs, floods due to poor drainage, etc. Interesting comment. And then someone comes back to comment a comment, and Vio Welbeck cites and says, if you say it, they would say it's propaganda. At a time of doomsday, flooding, high petrol prices, etc., our president is living a luxurious life. But I'm also wondering that despite the doomsday and the floods, you know, sometimes people hang around with their friends. We do what excites us. I'm not defending the president, but I'm just saying, you know, even if there's doomsday, you still probably go and do what excites you. So, well, John S. Johnson says, let me ask you again, what is the level of unemployment in the UK and for that matter, America and all those rich nations? So it goes on and on and on. And like I said, it's been quite controversial. Some think that it's not proper for the president to do that when the country is at the level as it is now. But some think, give him a break already. He's got a private life. But let's move away from that. And this one is a rather interesting one. How many friends do you have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10? Well, a study suggests people who are not too smart have a lot of friends. So what the psychologist tried to say was that people who are smart are able to solve their own problems, and so they don't need a lot of people around them. So they tend to be, you know, loners. They walk alone and they move on alone. But if you're not too smart, then you have a lot of friends. But we posted the issue on Facebook. Let's hear what some of you are saying. Margaret or Himan Kruma says, having a lot of them is what makes you so. But a single friend to share thoughts and ideas can be the best sometimes. So I think she agrees. And Ahmed Michael Sensen says, anti-so smart, one of the chief reasons why I hate psychology. All right, Afavi Maulom Kellison says it's true. So she agrees. And Ampa Kwesi says, I agree totally. So I don't know what you make of this, but I'll be picking up your comments shortly. But meanwhile, let's see what's trending on Twitter. And this one tweeted at us at Joy News on TV. Says, I wrote my BEC in 1999 in Tamale. Those days, the questions were not easy at all. And Critic Ghana is calling us a copycat. I don't know what for. But and Evers in Japan says, I join you on TV, deflated breast. Yes, we are talking about breast flattening. And this one says, we wish all BEC candidates a successful examination and may they come out in flying colors. And this one says, I need a picture of the president, Okada Mahama, in the flooded areas. There's a lot of comments here, tweets at us at Joy News on TV. And this one says, hope this time around the examination would be free from leakage. So those are your comments here on Joy News Interactive on Twitter. But before I go, let me show you our video of the day. No comment. Don't ask me if it was real, if it was staged. I don't know, but that's our video of the day. Let me pick a few of your comments before we wrap up here. This one says, Mr. President, is not the matter riding a motorbike around Accra. You should rather think of the unpaid teachers. Okay, so someone is not happy with the president. Abdul Rashid says, oh, right, you're a bit late, you know that, and I couldn't read your messages. And this one says, President Mahama should get serious. Being a president of a country like Ghana is a serious business. And this one says the president's motorbike ride shouldn't be news because in 2014 Dutch Prime Minister rode a bicycle to meet Iranian delegation. A lot of your comments here, but time. Let me get onto Facebook. Some of you have been commenting on this video we showed you. Doakib Bayan says this marriage won't last. It looks like there's some kind of coercion in the wedlock. The lady refusing to kiss the guy has so many implications. And he says that Kingsley Chigozi says even Nollywood Chinedu Ikediezi, aka Aki, survived this mess despite his stature. But in this case, he's laughing at that. I think poverty indeed is a curse. Edward Amankwa says, what's wrong with the lady? I think it's a contract marriage, not love. Jack Nana Kwame says, who encouraged her to do this wedding? This wasn't mandatory. And he says, adding. And Flex Boating Bafo says, is this Facebook love or by force love? And he's laughing at that. On that exciting note, we'll end Joy News Interactive for today. I appreciate your company. Thank you so much for joining me today. Thank you so much for your comments. I'm sorry for the ones I couldn't take, but don't forget, the conversation continues on all our social media platforms. On Facebook, we are at Joy News on TV. You can tweet at us at Joy News on TV. Alternatively, you can send us a WhatsApp message on 0560-800,000. Whatever is happening in your community, you let the rest of the world to know. My name is Benis Abubedu. Do enjoy the rest of your day.
Joy News Interactive was brought to you by
Airtel, the smartphone network.